What inspired you to start making music?
So I think music has always been a part of my life. Like I grew up, my dad was making music. So it was always there. But definitely like seeing bands and stuff growing up and listening to music, like music videos and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Green Day, when I was younger, was a big inspiration. So seeing those artists making music and them expressing themselves was definitely something that I was drawn to.
Mm, absolutely. Who are some of the people that you look up to that you aspire to be like in your career?
I think like it's always changing.
Hmm.
Um, like from early on, I like as I said, Green Day was a huge influence on me. Also like Eminem growing up was really
Mm.
big. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of those emo bands I love as well.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
but yeah, I think like recently though, there's I guess like music's really changed.
Hmm.
I feel like we're leaving this like live setting and we're going into more of like this internet type of online music, which is really
Mm.
weird. So I think now I love bands like the 1975. I think they're
Hmm.
great. And like artists like Charlie XCX and Porter
Mm.
Robinson and stuff. Like a lot of these, it's like a hybrid of like electronic and your kind of like acoustic instruments. I think
Yeah,
is really interesting.
that seems like a really good niche to actually be in. You've
Yeah,
got some really
yeah,
good
definitely.
beats to work with, but you've also got the nostalgic kind of throwback guitars that throws you back to 2000s rock in a
Yes,
sense.
yeah. Everything now, as well as it's becoming really referential.
Hmm.
Like a lot of the music now, it's like I'll reference this beat from the 80s, this guitar from like the 90s, or everything's kind of referencey, and it all kind of comes together in this mismatch kind of
Mm,
thing.
absolutely. For any potential fans that are watching this, reading this online, what would the hallmarks of a Shlin song be? What would they expect when they listen to you for the first time?
Ooh, it's a good question. Like I would say I kind of am going for this like bedroom pop
Hmm.
sound. I feel like that is where the future of music is heading. Like everyone's a producer, kind of,
Yeah.
anyone can be a producer. So I wanted something that you would listen to while you scroll your news feed. It's not something that's going to be played live.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean
Oh.
it can't be, but it's
Mm.
something that's fitting for like an internet environment.
Yeah, an internet
Um,
styled audience.
yes, yeah, definitely. So in that sense, I think Hallmark, like I wanted something that sounds like technological
Hmm.
but human, a kind of hybrid connection. So
Yeah.
like auto tune, I think is a good way to like really, I don't know, get those two things to come together.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
auto
yeah, I
tune
can definitely see
synthesizers,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
definitely. So, but yeah, also still having like some guitars in there and stuff like that.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly what I got listening. So that's
Oh, good,
fantastic to hear.
good.
What's the process behind making a song for you? Like, how do you go about it? Do you start lyrics first? Do you start with the instruments first? How do you get it all together?
I think it's what whichever seems like ideas can come from anywhere. So I think it could be as simple as like a drum beat or a chord progression, or it could be a lyric that really like you can feel it. I think if you can feel it, I think you know it's going to be a good idea and you run with that. So generally I will take a certain idea and expand it either probably on guitar. Like I'm a guitarist foremost,
Mhm.
which is kind of ironic being just like completely computer based.
It is a
So
little bit.
yeah, so you got to kind of like, I think most great ideas come organically.
Mhm.
So I want to get something that is like connecting with the guitar, connecting with the human body, and then kind of put that onto the computer and kind of computerize it. That's kind of
Mm,
my style to do things now.
mm. So you mentioned that the style sort of is bedroom pop. Does that mean that you actually record the stuff in your room rather than a studio?
Yes, yes, I have to.
Wow.
Cost,
So,
cost.
oh yeah.
yeah, just for cost purposes as well, I think it's very having control and it being cheaper. I think prices now for like making music, especially in studios, it's like ridiculous.
It's staggeringly high.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
very, so yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to ask. Was there a particular reason that you preferred your room to a studio? Like, do ideas flow more naturally? But it's probably mainly cost.
Yeah, cost it, but I think the initial reason was like I was always working with other people to make my music, and the outcome was always something that was never quite what I wanted.
Hmm.
So giving like I didn't at the time, I still don't have the exact ideal skills that I would like to make my music, but every song is a step up. So
Mm,
hopefully one day it'll be like good enough to be able to any idea that comes to me, I'll be able to express through technology and stuff like that.
absolutely. Now, usually artists release droplet singles before dropping an EP. However, you've kind of done the opposite. Were you thinking to sort of buck the trend, or was this just a happy accident?
I think like I thought always like you want to have a kind of backbone of songs that people can listen to before like even if you release singles, it's like you only have one song to listen to.
Mm,
I think if you have an EP, like you use these singles to kind of get new fans. And
mm,
if you've already got an EP released, I think it's a good way to keep your listeners or give them something else to work with. I think
mm.
is
So
good.
just give it up to them sort of straight away, give them sort of an idea of you rather than dropping droplet single here, droplet single there, and kind
Yeah.
of tease them along. You're sort of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is me, this is who I am, just straight up.
Yeah, I think it's better. Also, I've also always been someone who loves listen to albums.
Mm,
And that kind of like the collection of songs and creating that world is so
hmm
fascinating, not just to listen to, but like as an artist creating that and creating that world is something that really fascinates me and it kind of drives my passion to make music. So yeah, I've always been more inspired to make an album or make a collection of music rather than just one song.
absolutely. So mentioning the EP, you dropped the first EP, The Man Who Downloaded the World, last year, which was funnily enough the day after my birthday. Um,
Happy
you
birthday.
thanks. It's coming up soon as well. You described it as a social commentary inspired by the life of Hikomori. What exactly is this?
So hikikomori is in Japanese it basically just means like hermit, like
Oh,
someone who just lives inside, like never goes outside. So
mm-hmm,
as I was saying before, like this concept of making music that is inspired by or for created for the internet or for
mm-hmm,
online audiences. It's kind of that idea that the hikikomori will stay inside, only lives inside. So these experiences are kind of just contained by your own kind of house or room or whatever.
mm-hmm,
But yeah, that I think that was really very relatable for like what happened in COVID. Like everyone
mm,
just our experiences just kind of got confined.
mm. We
So I
all went
wanted
through
to
our
make
hermit era.
yes, exactly. So I wanted to make something that yeah, really was kind of a response to that.
Absolutely. Are you the type of artist that pulls from personal experience to write from, or do other people or events around you also inspire you?
I'd say it's very like personalized.
Mm,
I think as well, like I always like in my 20s, I was playing in bands a lot in Melbourne. And when I kind of this was kind of my solo project. So I kind of wanted to make everything a lot more personal. In a
mhm.
band, you can't really like you can kind of get personal, but you don't want to go too much detail.
Because there are different perspectives in the band as well. You
Exactly.
don't want to feel like
Yes.
you're overshadowing.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like with a solo project, I could really just like get as personal as I possibly could. And
Mhm.
I think there's still a lot I would like to talk about and I would like to, include in the songs.
Hmm, exactly. So while the sound of the man who downloaded the world, I thought to be mellow and sort of reflective. Your recent two singles, which were Radio Wrong and Feels Like, they've been very upbeat and lively.
Mm.
representation. Is this a sign of what direction you're steering with for your next project?
I think I, yeah, I definitely want to keep the listeners surprised or keep myself surprised as well.
Yeah.
So like yeah, definitely the man who downloaded the world was very low key, had like very acoustic elements to it over like the hip hop beats and stuff. And the two ones more energized, but definitely I'm also as a producer I'm exploring my styles as well and what would work best.
Mhm.
Um but always I want to do something new and unexpected
Mm.
within that world, within the Shlin world. I would still
Mm.
like to experiment with that kind of more energized sound, more chill sound, and we'll see what else we've got in store for that. But
Mm.
definitely.
Absolutely. Staying on your recent release, Feels Like, which dropped on Thursday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely
Thank
love
you.
it. What would you say the song is about, and what was the experience putting it all together like?
So the song for me is it's kind of about infatuation and a kind of like you how could I say this? It's kind of like people use love or infatuation to kind of escape their own like depression. I feel a lot of people use like attachment to kind of escape that. Um, so I kind of wanted to, the song is kind of about that, of like this existential dread, but then using kind of infatuation or like love or whatever to kind of blockade that and
Mm.
distract from that. But
Mm.
yeah, the song itself, like it was originally written for like more of a band project, but yeah, I kind of wanted to give it a remix and stuff. So I put it into the computer and started adding like electronic drums and things like that. But yeah, kind of it ended up being like this kind of hyper pop kind
Mhm.
of thing, which is cool because yeah, like recently I've been getting into that. I think that's really represents the internet kind of sound as well.
Absolutely. You see what Charlie XCX has done with Brat, and
Oh yeah.
easily see this is the sort of direction where pop music seems to be heading recently.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Now, your releases after your EP have elements of Japanese heritage. There was the collab that you did with Yunamanu,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the single covers of Radio Wrong and Feels Like have Japanese sort of styled characters on the front.
Yeah, yeah.
So, to you, how important is identity to you in the world of music?
Well, I I studied Japanese language and I was living in Japan for about 3 years. And I love like J-pop music is also a huge influence on me. So I kind of my reason originally, like I moved to Japan, I wanted to do music there. So I played in bands in Japan and I collaborated with Japanese artists as well. So I definitely that's kind of became a part of my identity in a way through studying the language and living in the culture. And I wanted to express that through the music as well. And I think the West, like, we're starting to touch base a little bit with it, but like K-pop's obviously huge.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think we can adapt. Western music should definitely be adapting these ideas.
Absolutely.
So I definitely would like to do that with the project of Shlin and stuff like that. Would be an interesting kind of unique standpoint.
Absolutely. When I was listening to it, it sounded a lot like that show that they used to run on SBS called Pop Asia. It would usually be on
Oh yeah, yeah,
weekends. And I'm like, this sounds sort of like if I listen to that. It's like, so
yeah.
definitely the connections are happening, which is absolutely fantastic.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that that it's like kind of come together.
Absolutely.
That's good.
So, last but not least, what does the rest of 2025 look like for you? Are we going to be getting some more droplets, another EP, potential tour dates? Because you did say while it's not technically designed to be performed
Yeah.
live, it doesn't mean it can't be. What do
Yeah.
you think the rest of the year looks like for you?
So definitely will like I'm hoping this year will be the biggest one yet for this
Mhm.
project. So I've been working on another single collaboration with Utamayu as
Oh,
well. So
awesome.
there's going to be a new song coming out hopefully this year.
Hmm.
Um, I've got another. As for like like 2 singles I've got out. I want to add one more to make it a trilogy.
Mm,
And
that's
then I would like to start working on another EP.
that sounds like a pretty good plan.
Mm. So yeah, and then as for live, like I've been talking to my friend who's a DJ about possibly getting together, doing like some collab kind of live sets, seeing if we can add together like the two artists and do some live performances. So also preparing for that would be a really fun thing to do, I think, at this time. But we'll
Mm,
see what happens.
absolutely time to take this out to a much more wider audience.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, Ashlyn, thank you so much for agreeing for this interview today. I can't wait to hear all the new material that's going to come out, the collaboration, the trilogy, potentially if you do bring the tour around to
Yeah,
Melbourne
yeah,
or play
yeah,
live
yeah,
shows around Melbourne, absolutely.
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this, and I think our readership is going to be absolutely, they're going to be hanging out for that as well. So thank you
Oh,
so much for giving me your time today.
that's all right. Thank you so much for having me.
Mm, you're absolutely welcome.